Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Tarot for Our Times. This is Sarah, your medium on the go. And in talking about all that's been going on in the Middle East, there has been one theme that's been coming up, and it's a problem in our country too, which is that the lesson of the Middle East teaches us that religious fueled government is a recipe for disaster. And all these wars over territory and that sort of thing have been basically the three religions clashing with each other. And of course, in the Middle Ages, it spread to Europe. And then we had the Spanish Inquisition. And it's all been a matter of, it's not been a spiritual thing, it's been pretty much a battle for control, for these religions having control. And if you look at the extremists like the Taliban and some of these, and Hamas and all of these things, is that having control over women is a very big thing, and their behavior, and just keeping people afraid. And it just has nothing to do with spirituality at all. So my whole thing about this is that when I got sober, I decided to wipe this. I think this would realize later it was wiping the slate clean, and I heard a lot of religious stuff, very Christian religious stuff in AA that really turned me off. So I was an atheist for a number of years. And then when I discovered my mediumship, that pretty much went out the window. But I didn't develop this sense of God or anything, and this old man sitting on a mountain judging us the way a lot of the religions have. And it's a personal thing of having the divine within. It's a Buddhist thing, and also spiritualism has a bit of that too. So I think the one thing that really turned me off, of course, was the hypocrisy of it, and the way that they, tried to insinuate it into government to control how people live their lives. Uh, and I think that sort of thing, it's really still one of the big problems that I have. And there is a difference between spirituality and religion. Um, I believe that the founding fathers of the United States were very wise in having that removed from the government, that we would have no state religion like we broke away from England, and they had the Church of England, which is Episcopalian religion. But still, over the years, that's the official religion, but they're not shoving it down people's throats. It means that's the religion the king and the royal court have pretty much now. But it wasn't always that way. If you read about Henry VIII and all this other sort of stuff, and this pretty much went on to Europe, and people came to the United States. Well, back then it was the colonies for religious freedom. But then what they did, the Puritans, the Pilgrims, they pretty much set up their laws by their religion. And so the founding fathers, who I think were mostly, they were deists and free thinkers, and going to church was sort of like something they did to look good mostly. But they were a pretty secular group, and they realized from all of this that you cannot have religion dictate the government, and that the purpose of the United States is so that people can come and freely practice their religion. But the evangelical movement has really I think it started creeping in there a little bit with Nixon, and just got more and more so. And then it came to the big crescendo when Trump took office. And he was smart enough to know that these people were growing in numbers, and that they could influence elections, and this has been their way of getting power. Now, on the other hand, where there were a lot of churches involved in the civil rights movement with Martin Luther King, but the big difference, and politically active, but the difference is that it was a big umbrella where they were all invited, and not for one to gain superiority over another. But this is a whole different ball game, and this is and gay people and people of color and immigrants are suffering because it is incredibly hypocritical. They do not practice what they preach. So I don't think nations can be sustained when they have a particular religion, and Israel has been struggling with that because you've got the ultra-Orthodox Jews and you've got the Reform Jews, and they have very, very different ideas. But I remember years ago listening and I think it was Terry Gross on NPR, and she had a show about it, and it makes me laugh, but it's very, very typical. Back, I think in the 90s, it was in the 90s, when we still had the Soviet Union, and there wasn't like Hitler, but Jews were not really welcome, so a lot of them came to Israel to live, to get out of that oppressive sort of thing. But the funny thing is that they had all these young women, very Western, who were wearing mini skirts and a lot of makeup and, low-cut dresses and all this sort of thing. And the Orthodox guys just absolutely freaked out, and they had a hard time assimilating. I thought it was pretty funny, actually, but that's just an example. So everybody is pretty guilty of all of this. So I want to see then today we have, we're kind of torn because we can't be bombing a nation, but yet we all know that the religious fundamentalists of Iran have women. I mean, if you have a strand of hair out, you can be arrested and thrown in jail. And I'm old enough to remember when Iranian women were very modern, up-to-date, dressed Western. But the unfortunate thing is that the Shah did not allow the more religious Muslims to practice and wear the veil if they wanted. I think he was oppressive too. But I think the thing is, had he lived and let live, pretty much they wouldn't have had the Ayatollahs coming in and being the big mess that they are today. So this, I think, is pretty much the problem of the world. But I want to do a reading on where is this going in the U.S., because they are very powerful, but he's losing popularity. When I never thought, as I said in the previous video, I never thought I would ever hear Marjorie Taylor Greene saying what she did, and my agreeing with about, I don't know, maybe 40% of it, which was totally amazing. So I want to see what direction is it headed in the U.S., and then I'll see if there's any short readings that we can do on that. So let's see. So as I use the Llewellyn and all the other usual. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I have to tell you that I forgot to get the card out. The High Priestess is the card of the day. Hopefully, I knew I forgot something. I want to find it. The High Priestess in reverse. Now, upright, the High Priestess is a woman who embraces many different, she doesn't have one religion, but she's kind of a hybrid and embraces almost all of them, including, she's got the Kabbalah tree of life in the background, which is a Jewish mysticism. She's got the pagan sun cross. She sits between the pillars of darkness and light, which means that she's shining the light onto the shadow side of herself. But she still has her secrets. She's considered, oh, here she is. She's considered one of the more secretive ones in the zodiac. So, if you look at the thumbnail, and this here she is in reverse. So I would say in reverse, the secrets do come out. It's not pretty. And in fact, well, the fact is that for all of you that you have been watching Saturday Night Live for years now, that we have Steve Garvey or whatever his name is as the church lady, and I always thought that the high priestess in reverse was the church lady, because she was the one. She's the one. It was really a riot. She's the one judging everybody, and is very hypocritical. But see, a lot of these evangelical types, they have their deep dark secrets, like the Moms for Liberty or whatever, and they found out their head honcho was doing 3-ways and lesbian sex with, and I don't care what they do. What they do is their business. But to do that and then go out and go on homophobic rants and tell other people to live, that's where I have the problem. And so that's why I put the church lady in the thumbnail, and then I have the two Ivanka clones at different age. We in that meme too, we had, and they're both wearing their crosses, Christine Levitt and Pam Blondie. I mean, they look like, one of them I think looks like a little bit of an older version, sort of out of the same cookie cutter, so to speak, and they're wearing their crosses, and yet they back up so much of this toxic crap that he does. And I thought the perfect examples. And then Pete Hegseth with the Bible stuff and everything, and he drinks like a school of fish. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So what I want to do is see where this is going. I think people have got to be, even religious people. I think the truly spiritually religious people think that church and state really do need to be separate. They want to practice their religion without being bothered. And I think, and also if people choose not to practice a religion, that is their business. So this is about the church lady is about sticking her nose in everybody's business. So what do we have here? Okay, we have the Hanged Man in reverse, which is saying that basically we cannot go on like this. We just can't. You gotta cut that guy down and bring him back to earth, which is, I think, what this is saying. So the energy crossing this is, let's see, what do we have here? Oh, the Ten of Cups in reverse. The fantasy is over. The fantasy and the magical thinking. That is the Ten of Cups. That's over. That rainbow is just not going. The rainbow is fading. And also it's interesting because the rainbow is also part of the gay pride thing too. So they're sitting under this rainbow, oblivious to the fact that, and loving it, but that it is the big symbol of gay pride. So this is just saying this is unsustainable in the United States of America. It really is. I think the founding fathers are really coming back to haunt us with this. Well, this is encouraging. So let's see. Underlying this we have, we have the Devil, which is one of the many cards I have for Taco, but this is about the religion being addictive. I think it was Karl Marx, and I'm not on board with everything he says, but the one thing he did say was that religion is the opiate of the people. It's like they are hooked on. It's like an addiction, and it's an addiction to the more toxic elements. Like they get to feel superior, and okay. Then we have interesting enough. So then we have the Hierophant, which is the organized religion, and these people do need. They're addicted, and they need the structure. Because that's the whole thing. It's like people that are prone to authoritarianism, they want to be told what to do and feel superior to other people. So here we have, this is perfect. And then we have, but in the end, without the due diligence and knowing what this really should be, this says it's doomed to fail. It is very doomed to fail. So, we know the Spanish Inquisition went on a little bit too long, but in the end, it crumbled. I think had we had the internet 500 years ago, it might not have lasted as long as it did. So, in opposition, we have the universe. So, what this is about, we are at the end of the cycle. I think people are sick of it. They're fed up with it. It's the end of the cycle. And plus the fact is some of those wackadoodle churches, they really guilt people into tithing. I think people cannot, that's a luxury that, for that they want it done to an excess. So that could be a luxury that people can't afford anymore. They can't save their money. So, okay. So, let's see, so in the before tarot leading up to this is the Knight of Swords. Okay. When he's upright, he's like ready to go and conquer it's like the Crusades. He's ready to conquer the people and to get them all on board. But for some reason, this just isn't a happening thing anymore. So we've got the before Knight of Swords in reverse, and the after tarot we have the Ten of Pentacles. I'm going to say this is the church and this is Taco after everybody's worked together counting up the loot. This is, actually when I think of it, this card reminds me of when my parents never had these shows on, but sometimes they'd get these babysitters, these older ladies that, religious people, and they would watch. That's how I first saw Billy Graham and Oral Roberts and all of those from the sitters at a young age. And I was always fascinated about how they were always asking for money, and knowing that these people were giving them way more than they could afford. And what I'm seeing here is that I don't think Taco guy has any religious, spiritual, anything. He's using them, but he's been learning how to use their methods in collecting the money, because I've read Ben Mycelis. He said he is on the Trump mailing list, so we don't have to be. And it's like all of this passive aggressive, and if you donate this, you're going to get this, and you're going to get that. And when I think of it, it really takes me back to when I was a little kid, and those ladies used to watch these, and it was interesting to see how they extorted money from people. Okay, so we have, on the conscious level, with the religion and the government thing, we have Strength in reverse. This is a feeling of inadequate. It's it's trying to the strength in reverse is, since they're not strong themselves, they need to be strong by bullying people. This has come up a lot. The strength in reverse has come up a lot of times in these readings. And it's about a lot of, depending on where, it's a lot about bullying and the false strength, which is weakness. So that this is the same thing. This is Project 25 and all of this. If they control us, they feel strong. Now, even when Hitler had his reign of terror and all the countries occupied, every single country had the underground resistance. Every single one of them. And they essentially won the war. I mean, they gave information that really enabled the D-Day invasion, which was truly the beginning of the end. So it's not sustainable. This is what, so the subconscious is the Six of Cups. It's that subliminal feeling of going back to a past that's all in their minds. So they're looking at, it's kind of like the old covers of the Saturday Evening Post with the people going to church with a happy family. We know that that was not reality, but subconsciously, this is the world they want. But only for only for their kind, though. No brown or black people need apply. So that's the big they'll take them in and use the hell out of them. Okay, so in the past, we have the Seven of Cups. Got the Seven of Cups here. So this is about trying to avoid this smoke screen, but it's looming behind, and those cups will be filled with that pretty soon. So that's been in the past. In the present, we have the Five of Swords in reverse. Okay, right now they're getting caught. I think that fewer people, there are people that will always go for the BS, but we as a whole, the ones that did not, become triple Trumpers, we know, we have their number. They're not able to pull, it's very hard to steal and con people when they know what's going on. So in the not too distant future, they're still going to try to hold on. They're going to hold on. Even if they're only left to fill one church, they're going to hold on. It's like, it's kind of part of this seven. They refuse to see reality. They want to open their eyes when these cups are filled with the fantasy stuff. Okay, and they're hanging on. So a little further in the future, we have the Star in reverse. The star will be fading. It looks like this woman wants to cleanse herself. I would say if it were upright, it would be a baptism. But in reverse, I'm going to say this lady here, she just wants to cleanse herself of all the BS. And it's also coming to the realization, these people that we thought were stars really aren't. I mean, I just heard about Serena and Venus Williams on Tabitha Station. They're all on for Elon Musk. Somebody figured that racist. How could two black women who've suffered from that in the world of tennis, I don't understand it. She doesn't understand it either. Okay. Then just a little further, in the future we have the King of Wands. And it's funny, he's not hanging on to that wand anymore. It's like what this tells me is that they will hang on to the tyrant, which this one is in reverse, no matter what. So there is a small core of them that, what this is saying this is diminishing, but those that are sticking around will, but they don't exactly have the power in the numbers anymore. And I'm even wondering if they did at the election, but that's a whole other reading altogether. So, okay, so I'm going to do how they see themselves. And this goes throughout history. If you study history, this is, okay, so how they see themselves is they're just an absolute holy bliss. It's kind of like out of touch with they just see themselves spreading the joy, spreading the word. That's how they see themselves. Let's see how others see them is, temperance in reverse, off balance, secret sex things, secret addiction things, and preaching to us. This is what I think how a lot of people see them, that they're not the balanced, angelic people that we'd like to think that they are. So, and also that they see that they are throwing our country into imbalance too. So, put those over here. So in the hopes and the fears, we have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So there's the hope for gaining all kinds of wealth, and this has been what this regime, and that these people are big money people that don't pay any taxes. Okay, they're supposedly non-profit. Okay, so the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, it's the fear of losing it. They're holding, where was that one? They're holding on to it. Four of Pentacles. They're holding on to their beliefs and their money with everything they have in them, but there's the fear of losing it, and it is a trap because it then imprisons them. So that's not a real attractive picture, is it? So the concluding card as to where this whole thing is headed. Okay, so it's getting exposed. The whole thing is getting exposed. I'm telling you, if we got hold of some of these mega churches with these people with their yachts and their private jets, and took away their non-profit thing, I think if a religious organization is truly non-profit, and there are some, that of course they deserve that status, but so many of them don't. So the big truth will be coming out about this. The light will be shown on this, and as a lot of this stuff is falling apart, that's the one aspect that will also, because the IRS, they do look into some of these preachers, these big rich preachers. So I think it pretty much sums it up. I can't think of anything else that any other questions except where things are going in the Middle East, but I think this applies to all of it. It's these are where dictatorships are, but I understand. I just saw on Midas Touch before I tuned in to this show, is that when his cars arrived in The Hague, he got booed as they were going. I know I've been on that street, really pretty street, gorgeous. Oh, The Hague is a gorgeous town. But I know when they were pulling in to take him into those buildings, everybody was on the streets booing him. So stay tuned. There is a reading from all of that sort of thing. So until I see you again, I'm going to say bye-bye.